Yo ho ho! What's going on, boys? This is Grim Reaper bringing you another One Punch Man review. Today we're going to be covering chapter 149. Remember to like the video, subscribe if you want more content like this, and let's hop into it. Chapter 149 was dynamic and different. There were some points that didn't make very much sense to me, and we'll talk about that. There were some theories that got more evidence for. We can't confirm them yet, but I think they're more solid, and we can talk about them more. But I'm really liking the playing dynamic of One. We all know what One's famous for. His amazing ability to play with like storytelling tropes, to not use the same narratives twice, and to be able to like diversify his storytelling tactics. In this instance, what I'm talking about in particular is the fact that everybody seems to get hype, and then the next chapter, the hype is either challenged or it's switched up. So here we get the next instance of the badassery, right? So we started chapter off with Fear Ugly having gotten smacked by Golden Sperm last chapter, and then we get a Homeless Emperor that pops up, hits him with this new it wasn't a little barrage at first. It's like a few like orbs, but then it was a named attack that he used called Straight Line Bombardment. So we got to see some new stuff from Homeless there as well. But if you remember, we had almost, I think, a chapter ago or 2 chapters ago now, we had literally just finished seeing Fear Ugly decimate Zombie, take out Nichiren and Atomic Samurai's blades, about to kill them both, or about to come after them both, at least, in Atomic's case. We already know what the boy is, how strong old boy is. Having to get saved or interfered by Amahade to protect Atomic Samurai Yan. And then we all know what happened with Nichiren as well. So, with that, Atomic Samurai ended up killing Hadagiri on his own, and now the rest of the Sword Council was killed in front of him by by Fear Ugly. It was hype. Fear stock was shooting up. In that very same chapter, we had just finished talking about Fear Ugly matching a double super double bazooka from Darkshine. Literally physically, because of the emotional trauma that was being caused him and the physical pain being caused to him, he got that strong. He was able to match Darkshine. Then, immediately the next chapter, after all that hype, after possibly having a Top of Samurai in a prayer situation, aside from getting a new blade, now we get Golden Sperm. Golden Sperm sealed the deal this chapter. The reason why I'm bringing up the fact or the point that like people are getting hype on chapter, and then the next chapter they're not, or somebody's beating that hype or challenging that hype or whatever, is because of this very same instance. The dynamic continues to grow. Darkshine was thoroughly beaten this chapter. Not only do we see a physical display of him like getting smacked, thrown back, which we saw with Garou to an extent, but we never really heard of like Bang hurting Darkshine. Well, it seems like that happened in this chapter with the blood that was being spewed everywhere from the punch that Golden Sperm did on him. One punch did that. He had him rolling and looking up at him. Not only admiring the shine, the golden shine of Golden Sperm, bro, but just the obviously larger, more just fitted cock diesel, big strong form that is Golden Sperm. Like, and then we got the whole same like just fear aspect before. Like, we've already been getting the eek from the crying from Fear, but now this is Garou, Golden Sperm, Fear Ugly. We should talk about the stock drop that Darkshine has to have had, because the perpetual sucking the community was giving him, it's done. It's done. It's done. And we can clearly see through lenses of clarity, bro. Clarity, but you get what I'm saying. Like, we no longer have to deal with those eyes or those individuals that were hyping him up to like past the moon, and because we hadn't gotten proof of a limit or an extent to his durability or his power yet, that we had to at least entertain them. We know we didn't believe them. We knew that they're creditless, and we didn't give them actual like proper responses or whatever. or proper credits to their theories. Now we have concrete reasons to not accept the hype. We know Darkshine is very, very strong. We know there's not very many guys that are going to match his durability and power. But this is the second individual, the second dragon. Arguably high dragons now, right? Because they're matching this guy. This guy. Not only just in strength and speed as well. Because these guys are tough. Fear is tough, bro. Bro, a lot of stuff has happened to Fear. Bang happened to Fear. Golden Sperm happened to Fear. Gums happened to Fear. And he's still crawling away talking about some, hey, Bang, let me get that re, bitch. Let me get that re, bro. Like, I'm pointing this out because I find it funny, and I might even do a video about homeless sperm. You guys already know. You guys, you Discord members, individuals who are new here though. Homeless sperm is a moniker that we dubbed after in the manga. Psychos mentioned that if homeless sperm, or excuse me, if homeless emperor and black sperm teamed up, that they were unstoppable. Now this was in the context of the absence of Orochi. Talking about Rover as well, or in consequence of Rover as well, but that's what the scenario is. So there's always been some speculation or some arguable implications. You can argue about it, debatable implications that we were given reason to question homeless emperor and black sperm in contrast to Orochi himself. I don't know what you think this means in its entirety. Is it just like the regular form? Does Psychos not know about Prime Star Orochi when he transformed to fight a Saitama? Does she not know about his full power? Like, to what extent are we talking about homeless sperm, homeless emperor and black sperm together rivaling Orochi, or being the next solution to Orochi, or being unstoppable? Is that context? Excuse me. Is that sentence supposed to be separate and not included or even referencing the comment before that, or statement before that? They were said, I believe, in the same chapter and in the same breath. So you would assume that the reference would be the same. That homeless sperm is supposed to rival Orochi. You know, we can entertain both viewpoints of both paths, right? Homeless Emperor is now stepping up. Homeless Emperor is now beating on Fear Ugly. He said that his plan was ruined. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Like, we went through in the reread, we saw what his depiction, or what his plan is, ideal world, right? He was going to permit the other cadres to obliterate humanity in itself. And then he was going to carpet bomb all of them to win. Now, we talked about this before in a different review, and I think even in the podcast before. We don't know, relax. We don't know how vulnerable Black Sperm actually is to homeless emperor. Black Sperm has always known that he could go into golden sperm. He's always known about this ability. He's always known about the capabilities that he actually has. They're his powers. Yet, while next to homeless emperor, he mentions that hey, these orbs seems to like have an infinite energy source. He felt like that was a problem while watching him do the symphony. So, is it true? Is homeless emperor's plan like real? Like, and why is it ruined now? Because they're fighting each other? Maybe that really was what he's talking about, right? Maybe that was the thorn in the plan. Maybe he did fix the issue with the plan. That he cannot have the force that he's relying on to obliterate the rest of the humans, and take out, in particular, the S-Class and lead, and then go on for the Hero Association, and then he'll cleanse humanity, as he says. If that force is fighting itself, it's not only going to weaken himself, but then it can't do the actual job that it needs it to. So, that he needs it to. So, it makes sense for him to, like, as he described about Fear, let me see if I can get the exact context of what he said. He kind of, like, said that, like, he has like an inferior mindset or personality. So, he's got to put him in his place and then he'll come back. Let me read it here verbatim. It says, he can still be useful for something. The one thing is, with those types, you can just show them time and time again how superior your power is and keep them half dead until their spirits break and they come begging to you to be your slave. That could be amusing, right? So you see simply playing with the mentality of Fear. He's to be saying that he's gonna break him mentally. I'm gonna break your spirit until you realize that I'm your superior, and you're gonna rely upon me. You're gonna like it. As like diabolical as that may sound, it's obviously probably gonna work. Or at least Homeless is counting that it's gonna work. But I'm assuming that something's gonna get in the way and interfere with that plan, like this did as well. But that does seem to be what that is summed up to be. That Homeless is interfering, not necessarily because he wants to team up with Golden Sparrow, but more so because he's got to put Fear Ugly in line, or else things are not going to go his way. My personal theory, my interpretation of what happened there. Regardless of the circumstance there, Homeless Emperor's entrance is much, much appreciated. The badassery he pulled this chapter, oh man, like, we're going to get to in a little bit the carpet bombing that he did. Because, now let me just put this to the side, because there's some like stuff I want to just get out of the way, because some Discord members are out there like just BSing, bro. Like BSing, bro. I haven't even gotten a chance to actually sit down and just go after people. We usually do that, like, you know, for the new viewers on the channel, or individuals who are contemplating the subscription. How the process usually goes is that a chapter will drop any miscellaneous day, usually 2 weeks time period apart. On chapter release day, we'll drop the reaction on the channel. Then, throughout the rest of the night or from the release, people are either watching the video or in the Discord conversating, or in the comment section conversating about things that happened in the chapter, talking about how hype it was, giving their ratings, all kinds of topics that happen. So I usually mingle amongst those comments, you know, staying spoiler free as long as the mods do their job. I go to the Discord, it's spoiler protected, so you can have all different kinds of conversations and speculation that opens your mind about a chapter. See how other people thought about it, and then you can, you know, continue to debate and open your viewpoints, right? Day 2, right? The second day after the chapter release, we do the review. That's today. It's the video you're watching right now. Like the video, bit. Like that bit. Hey, we went from the past to the future, bit. Hey, we finna keep going now, bro. So that's what I'm saying. So this is day 2. I haven't even gotten a chance, because after day 3 is in the podcast. Day 3 is when we do the podcast, right? Everybody comes through with Sasuke, Matt, Keishan, Stebo. Used to be Zhoniin, but he's gone. And I think that's about it. Sundown, right? We all come through. Everybody's channel, like those channels. Type those names into the YouTube search bar, and the people are up there. On the third day, we do that, and then you can just talk about whatever, bro. Then you really go after it, bro. Along those days, though, people are talking about everything, bro. Somebody said that because Ian and Mustachio are deflecting some of the orbs, that it's not as impressive. You know, if I didn't have to get this video out, just edit a clown hair on my head as I was saying that. Trash, bruh. Trash, bruh. Let's keep it pushing on with the chapter, though, because there's more to talk about. We've already talked about, like, the Darkshine's, the solidification of Darkshine's stock drop, right? You can't have what's been going on with Darkshine happen to you when your reputation was that high, when you were so prideful. Because let's not put all the blame on these not only these webcomic readers, but individuals who are in love with Darkshine. Because it's not just webcomic readers who love Darkshine. There are plenty of manga onlys or manga heavy individuals who like suck Darkshine well. The man himself is prideful. The pep talk that these guys were giving him involved him. Hey man, don't worry about it, bro. You're a big, strong, cock-diesel, like, proud guy. Like, you can't be down like this. Trying to get him back to his normal state. Like, you can't have that be your, like, every single day manner of being. And then when you encounter some tough shit, like... So, like, the obvious conversation topic that we talked about this, right? You know, we're all here. This is a seinen. This is not a shonen. It's an adult... There's going to be adult topics and no conversations and plot points that are more mature that you should be able to look into and understand. right? So this is really like what it comes down to, right? The question, right? So at the frontier of things should be the best, right? At the frontier of science, at the frontier of wrestling, at the frontier of sports, they're the best, right? The frontier being like where the best are at the beginning, the farthest part of research, bro. The extent that we have, like that's where the best scientists are at. They're doing that, you know. That's where the best athletes are at. They're in those leagues. Like you can always go further from. I don't know about the leagues in baseball, but like football, you're in college first or whatever. Those college leagues are not as good as the National Football League. And you have alternatives to the National Football League, or you did, that are gone now, out of business, and those didn't have the same talent pool as the NFL. Like that's the frontier of sports in regards to American football. So the question is, if you have that prestige, if you are of the frontier, you should already be experiencing the toughest that there is, right? I'm not saying that it's gonna be the same exact scenario, as in like, hey, because you fought one tough guy, that you should be able to deal with every single tough guy. But maybe I am saying that, right? Like, realistically, should there ever be a time to where like you're able to deal with any fear? Because it's not as if you're not afraid, right? Like soldiers always talk about, like in real life war, that like it's not that these guys are not afraid to die, or they're not afraid of like these bullets flying around them or the explosions, or are terrified of what's going on. They're just brave enough to like do their job while it's happening. So being at the frontier of power, are we to believe that Darkshine's never fought like somebody tough? Like, I know this is going back to when we first got the issue with Garou and Darkshine, but this is the third instance where we're seeing the pride or the boastful demeanor of Darkshine be diminished or spoiled upon, disrespected, disgraced, not honored, not lived up to. Like when he was rolling around screaming eek 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 from fear, like I'm not saying that there shouldn't have been a crazy reaction, but like we've seen all kinds of reactions from people taking like critical damage. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, does Genos go eek whenever like he's being torn apart? It's not like he doesn't feel pain. He feels pain. Like, I don't know, bro. At a certain point, or at least at this point, I think definitively, if Darkseid fights Garou again, I think he will end up screaming. We were talking about for a while that after that conversation, after the pep talk he got from a Mind Mask and Pooty Pooty, that maybe now in the second confrontation he'll be able to keep his head up and fight through. Maybe not win, but he won't cry in the loss, right? That was what we thought that pep talk was supposed to do. We got the eek from the fear portion, and because it wasn't necessarily a cry of like fear, of intensity, it's whatever, right? But this is that. He's crying because this guy like shines more than him. This is Chad Emperor type stuff. I think Darkshine's stock deserves to drop. It deserves to drop. It deserves to drop. So there was confusion with this next portion of the chapter, and I want to give my viewpoint of what the interpretation is, because I can't confirm this, and I don't want to be confirmed, because I don't trust people to not spoil. I don't think it's a spoiler, but this is what I think I believe it is. So we get a page. So Fear Ugly is escaping from the scenario where Homo Semper was beating him, right? Because they let him go. Homeless Emperor tells Golden Sperm that, hey, let him go, don't kill him. But Black Sperm isn't, he's not willing to just do what Homeless Emperor says. So he says, verbatim, like we take our eyes off him. We know if we don't let him refuel, he can't maintain his form. We'll surround him at a distance, box him in, and just dry him up. This goes, at least in our prediction of what Homeless Emperor's plan is, right? Of maintaining his fighting force to be able to eliminate humanity. You need Fuhrer to bet the strength. So, Black Sperm drying up Fuhrer is not in the Homeless Emperor's plan. He probably doesn't want that at all. What the confusion was is that we see 4 black sperms, and at the bottom it reads 10K sperm count, the task force. What I personally believe this means is that, as we saw, there's now a limit to how much he can split. I believe this is referring to that these 4 clones can split 10,000 times. There are 10,000 individual sperms that can be derived from there. Because remember, every single sperm has the power of every other sperm. So these guys can also just split apart and make more heads, make more black sperms voluntarily. They don't necessarily have to just be cut, punched, or splattered in order to split apart into multiple sperms. That's what I believe that means. And it's 10K's worth of splitting capability. Now that we know there's a limit to how long they can split. And this makes sense. This gives a total to like the amount of sperms that were everywhere in different vicinities or whatever. But that's what I think that means. That being said, Metal Bat shows up. Badass arrival. While we were conversing in Discord, I thought that we would end up with... So, Fuhrer mentions that he wants to go fight Bang. And Garou is fighting Bang. So, I was thinking Fuhrer goes to try and find Bang, where Garou is, and these sperms are going to follow Fuhrer. So, let's say that... Well, what I was thinking, aside from the attack, was that would be the way in which Metal Bat would be drawn to Garou. We can get that rematch for Garou. Because that shit seems like that's what he's here for. I think he said that verbatim. Yeah, he says, you guys know if the Hero Hunter is around here? He's coming for that rematch. He's coming to spank him. So, that was my scheme. Now Metal Bat attacked Black Sperm. 4K. Or 4 black sperms. 10,000 amongst them. He doesn't know about the capability. You can find out quick though. He was the one that, I believe, found out Melzagard's orb issue thing. So, I wouldn't be surprised. What if Metal Bat's the one that actually figures out what Golden Sperm's weakness is? How to actually beat, or excuse me, Black Sperm's weakness is. How to beat Black Sperm. Or Golden Sperm too. It's probably be the same thing. Like, we just don't know exactly how to do it yet. Can Golden Sperm split? Why do you think about that, bro? I'll keep thinking about, like, what is Golden Sperm's powers? It's just, like, physical strength, but, like, you know, it's just a second way to get multiple Golden Sperms. I don't get, like, you can't tell me that there's not going to be multiple Golden Sperms. There has to be multiple Golden Sperms. Like, there has to be, bro. There has to be multiple Golden Sperms. Like, what if Atomic cuts Golden Sperm? You tell me he's just not going to cut? Like, no, bro. They get cut. And you gonna have to split, bitch. And then you have to split into 2 Golden Sperms. There it is. It's got to be that. Metal Bat. We like unraveled into that because what if Metal Bat figures out how to actually beat Black Sperm? Like, what's the particular like secret thing there? You know, there's a limit to it. So we know we can do that. We can force him to split to his limit, and then once they can't split anymore, then that's it. They're dead. But that's a lot of work. You're gonna need a lot of power for that. A lot of that. So we could see a scenario where because the thing is like okay, so let's entertain a scenario where it's a Metal Bat and he's alone, right? There's not going to be any interference from anybody else. Fear's not going to come around to try and help Black Sperm or anything like that. It's really going to be 10,000 Black Sperms versus Metal Bat. Atomic Samurai didn't do very well. So that's the first like instance that I get that like in the original instance he came out on top. He even had a secret power. But in the most recent redraw, one has tried to solidify it to where like Black Sperm had the upper hand in the fight. Even though Atomic Samurai was in it the entire time, and every single attack Black Sperm did, Atomic Samurai pretty much matched it, or put the fight in a scenario where he's back in the same position. So it wasn't necessarily that Black Sperm had the upper hand, but Black Sperm was definitely affecting, harming, hitting Atomic Samurai. Well, there's not much you can do to Black Sperm. So it made me wonder, like, because Metal Bat can't attack as fast as Atomic. Flash can't even attack as fast as Atomic. And Atomic was flying around. Like, we even got a redraw for that fight, attacking a bunch of sperms. And there wasn't like 50 or 200 of them. They were probably like 1,000, 2,000. I don't want to say like 10K, but that was the entirety of Black Sperm. He could have fought an entire tsunami. He could have that fight could have devolved into him fighting a tsunami. So what's 10K? Like, that's really the only difference that I'm seeing, that like Atomic is obviously stronger, and the particular reason why the strength matters is because they can both do it seems like. But Atomic attacks a lot faster. So like he can take out a force of 10K sperms. He could probably deal with that a lot easier, a lot quicker than Metal Bat could. Metal Bat doesn't have that speed. But like we said, there's a finite limit to this. It's not like whenever Atomic Samurai was fighting Black Sperm, the entirety of them, where he could technically end up fighting a sperm tsunami. Here, Metal Bat has the limit of fighting 10K. The only other wrench to throw in there is that, like, as we saw with Inside the Cave whenever Atomic was fighting, and out here as well too, that like those sperms can get together and make different kaiju forms. Hell, there's no reason to even believe that they couldn't even make another golden sperm, like I said before, because we don't know how many black sperms are actually inside of the fusion that went into there. We saw a bunch of them during the chapter. People were speculating, our last chapter when the golden sperm was made. People were speculating if all the sperms got in there. It's confirmed that no, it wasn't all the sperms that got in there. We've seen a bunch of the sperms still fighting Tatsumaki and Genos. We've seen that King just walked up on at the end of the chapter. I'm like, oh. And then right now here, this task force of 10,000 worth of splitting stuff. So definitely a bunch of the sperms are gone, but it seems like there's still a lot to go around. So that's the realistic question. If Metal Bat is forced to fight alone, and if this is the obstacle that Metal Bat is going to encounter before he gets to fight Garou, does he have to beat 10K black sperms? Will he have to fight a golden sperm? Will it be a kaiju? Will Metal Bat get help from somebody? Listen, we need this rematch. We need it. I'm not sure who can beat Garou, but if somebody has a chance to beat Garou, it has to be this guy. It has to be this guy, just because of what his power is. It has to be. Like, and not only that, like, I don't think Garou's stronger than the other Centipede, whatsoever. And he took on the Centipede like, hey, man. So we also don't know the implications of Metal Bat's strength and growth, right? So the first real fight that we've seen from Metal Bat, because we saw him encounter Melzigard, but He didn't really even put in too much work against Melzigard. It was a team effort, so they were able to split Melzigard's attention 4 ways pretty well. And it was every hero got their chance to make a maneuver or whatever, and then did some effect. Metalbat even started off by taking out the head that was flying out first. Not to say that he wasn't fighting the main Melzigard, but if Metalbat grows in strength permanently, what's to say that he's not like crazy strong right now? I'm not saying that he's like a high dragon or anything like that. I'm not saying that he's like a mid dragon or anything like that. All he did was fight Garou. But like, we saw how strong he got in that fighting process. We saw what he could do. We saw he could produce that quickly. Cracking buildings by smacking the ground like a whole street away, a whole street block away. Like, this guy's no joke. Imagine if that compound power remains. We're not at the point where, like, everybody's a demon still now, right? Like, we're pretty deep into the story to where, like, we're seeing dragon fights more often. We're even in a portion or in an arc where the majority of enemies are dragons, where we have multiple heroes, multiple protagonists, and we have as many antagonists that are capable of messing with them, even beating them, it seems. So it wouldn't be crazy to have a power-up like what we could assume he would have gotten after fighting Garou to remain. And then you start from there, right? Obviously, there's the implication, right? The fact that Metalbat doesn't retain his power. This is confirmed by when in the fight, when he fought Zhoniin Centipede, and when those guys, Refocidian, showed up, he said that he hadn't been this pumped up in a while. Which means that there was a different occasion where he did get that pumped up. So, I don't know exactly how we're supposed to interpret this. Does it take him a while to lose that power? Are we gonna see like Metalbat like I guess now what's coming to my head is that like we're supposed to see Metalbat go through 10K's worth of like a beating, because this is not Refocidian and Zhoniin Centipede. This is 10K black sperms. Take a beating like the rest of the heroes have, and then get that much stronger. And then be the reason why they come out on top. Because this isn't like the other variants. This isn't like Fear, where the more you hurt his feelings or the more pain that he's in, the stronger it gets. When you beat on this guy, he gets stronger because of it. You know, it's more of a drastic timer, but it's a direct correlation to how much you beat him. So, what's up? $10K's worth of a boost of fighting spirit charge before fighting Garou? Bang is not going to beat Garou. Bang is not going to beat Garou. I don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't get me wrong. We have to get some more emotional chapter stuff, but the next chapter that I want from that fight has to be just straight cut diesel firefight out there, bro. This motherfucker just letting everything off, bro. Just like Garou gotta be going like full motor, bro, blowing through that bit, bro. It's gotta be just churning, bro. We have a chance to see some real art here. I don't want to dwell on Metalbat's arrival too much, because, like I said before, I mean, we already touched on it. The carpet bombing is impressive. So, is even memes going on Reddit already? Yes. Atomic Samurai doesn't seem to be blocking any of the orb attacks. We don't know if this is for a particular reason, if he can't pull it out. It doesn't seem like it's like that. He was in a stance before where he was holding the Sunblade, almost as if he was going to pull it out, but he did it. So, let's see, I guess. Maybe that gives credit to what everybody's talking about, right? Everybody's saying that as we said before, which I necessarily don't want to accept and believe, that the carpet bombing wasn't as lethal as they thought it would be, and that or the exact name for it is let me see here, extreme carpet bombing. So because Mustache and Yan were blocking and deflecting them, so that would be could be a reasonable explanation as to why Atomic Samurai didn't pull out the Sunblade for it. But maybe there's a different reason. Maybe he just can't pull out the Sunblade for a particular cause, or maybe there's some other like requirement that he needs. We're not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. We'll see whatever happens with that. And we see that it is an indiscriminate because Homeless even had to protect himself while it was going out there. Talked about him in review about Child Emperor's monologue or text message to Bolfoy, his cry for help, summarizing the events and the battle sequences that have gone on and his current predicament, and just thinking to himself that like, hey man, we need you out here and we need you to like take action because the association is not really happy with like how inactive you are and how uncooperative you are. So I don't necessarily agree with the phrasing that he gave there. He mentions exactly to the individuals who didn't get a chance to or don't have the chapter pulled up as you're watching the review. It says, if you don't take a cooperative stance towards the Hero Association here, you may be seen as a threat to them, jeopardizing your current position. I don't think that's credible or even necessarily suitable for China to say. But somebody mentioned that I should check out a reread. Maybe I'll check out a reread of the Child Emperor fight. Maybe a Child Emperor. I'm not sure when they'd like me to reread because I'm pretty sure the last few times that like he's mentioned anything about Bullfoy was like when they were talking to each other and whenever he found the Metal Knight drone before G5 arrived. But I'll reread to see if there's some more context to supporting Child Emperor pressuring Bullfoy in regards to assisting the association. Because there's never, I don't believe, this is literally the first time I'm seeing anything. And I've read all the reroutes multiple times. To rereads all the time for the series. It seems like this is the first time we're seeing where Metal Knight's position is in jeopardy. It was clear we were all under the interpretation or perception that Metal Bat had the same stance or the same status, as to put it, as Blast. Maybe not in the same rank, but we know his capabilities. He even made the association building. It's kind of messed up to a person who's done all this for the association would be a threat. I'm not sure. It's not like Cheddaper isn't paranoid. It's not like he hasn't been one of the individuals passing around a conspiracy of like members of the association not being on the up and up. But I don't know. Maybe if we do a reread, we can see more context to this whole like spy thing or like untrustworthiness amongst the members of the association, the S Class, and Child Emperor. I think it stems from him. King. Tatsumaki and Genos. So we saw the love story, man. We saw all the posing that's been out there. We saw Genos go out there, in front of Fubuki for Tatsumaki. We know the relationship that's been going on from the beginning, how they approve each other, and how Genos is really the only person, or one of the few people who Tatsumaki is willing and acceptable and comfortable with fighting with, alongside with. So, to see them both knocked out here, Genos having to drag Tatsumaki with his mouth, really puts the perilous situation the heroes are in into a real perspective. Before this arc, you wouldn't have seen or believed Tatsumaki would be in a situation like this. Like, this is the pillar of strength of the association. Like, we saw her deflect Earth Cutters. Like, before this, nobody was touching her. Like, she was truly powerful. And then we came into the arc and we saw what she was really capable of. But here, being dragged by Genos' mouth, she would never allow that to happen. She really can't do anything right now. Genos has no limbs. We've seen Genos here before. He would try to self-destruct now, but he can't. That's like he's right there. Sometimes the fact that they're protagonists takes away from like the lethality situations, or like the how perilous some situations may be. But I think this is fair, and this is acceptable. Because yeah, it's incredible that Genos got so strong in this arc. But man, it was a lot to deal with. And people were uncomfortable with Tatsumaki just being able to deflect the last Earth Cutter. But maybe this makes up for it. Maybe her exhaustion, maybe the exertion that she put out, maybe her being beat down this badly because of, like, she couldn't defend herself. She couldn't pull out the same power she could before. It's not the same. Tatsumaki after the Sairochi fight has not been the same. And this is what happens when you can't pull out abilities like that. This is what happens when you're fighting high dragons like this and you can't. It's not like she's being arrogant in her fighting style. I don't think she's ever arrogant in her fighting style. She just has the power to do the things that she does. She can just stand in front of you as she's flying and then lift you up. She can do that to 100 Eyes. That's what she did, and she has the power to do it. But here, she's not fighting dumb. And bro, they're getting past the defenses. It shows you the real threat that Black Sperm is. He didn't get help from Homeless Emperor. Sure, Fury has been rampaging as well, but this has mainly been Black Sperm. Honestly, from the beginning, this has mainly been Black Sperm. Homeless Emperor showed up, and he decimated Zombie Man, but he was already pretty much. Sure, Zombie was intact, but Zombie couldn't really like produce much offense. He didn't have the guns on him. He was naked. No weapons, like. This has been Black Sperm's doing. Let's see what King can do. I'm not sure what role he's going to play. But this is an omen. It was hyping the chapter and the reaction. Because it's my boy King. But this is really an omen. It means Saitama's coming. It's really what it means. It means that Saitama's coming. And that's a very, very bad thing. So as much as niggas want to, like, you can play around with the King engine if you want, if you think it's a joke, but like, once again, King really reaffirms Saitama. Like, it's, when they say that King is the strongest hero, that's true. Yes. Not because King himself has physical strength, but because the reputation that King has is of the strongest hero. The strongest hero did actually do the things that they think King did. He really did do that. It really is the strongest hero who did that. The strongest hero really did take out Beefcake, and they think that King did that. Okay. The strongest hero really did take out Beefcake. If you think it's King, okay, sure. But King really is the strongest hero. So let's see what reputation that has here, because Tatsumaki relies or can depend upon King. All the monsters have information on the S-Class. Let's see what their reaction is to King. Because even the Homeless said that he could take out the S-Class. But King? Stay tuned tomorrow or the day after that, most likely tomorrow, for the One Punch Man podcast, where we'll be discussing the chapter in its entirety and all the different instances, ideas, and theories that could come up in regards to your little sis.